Streamlit real life app example, how to deploy on Streamlit cloud. So we'll be looking at some Python basics, a little, or some Streamlit basics per se, and then we'll move on to the project that has been designed for today's class. All right, so I'll start by saying that Streamlit is a Python framework that lets you turn your script into shareable web apps. Or let me just throw this question to the audience: who is familiar with Streamlit before? Before now, you've heard of Streamlit before now. Let's just start with that. So maybe you can just tell us something about Streamlit. Maybe if you've encountered and you've worked with it and you want to share a little of your understanding of what Streamlit is all about. Anyone? Okay, there's just something small. Maybe you can just, yeah, Amar. Okay, you can tell us what is Streamlit and how far you've used it. Yeah.
All right, good evening, good afternoon. Um, I use Streamlit to test my work. Maybe when I'm done with a project, I just use it to see how it works. And I use it to deploy it and just see how it works actually.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So basically, um, streaming is just like I said, it's help you to turn your script into shareable web apps. You don't have to be a front end expert. You don't have to be very vast in front end technologies before you can actually bring out your data out there that people can actually relate with. You don't need to know HTML. You don't need to know CSS. You don't need to know anything fancy. That's the beauty of Streamlit. So you'll be thinking that why are we even using Streamlit? I mean, there are other popular platforms like that, but why are we using Streamlit? So Streamlit is open, so it's an open source Python library, right? It's built for machine learning and data science. You don't need any front end experience. It helps you to share your data project in minutes with sliders, input charts, maps, and much more than that. So um, So now, why are we using Streamlit? Of course, it's great for portfolios. For those of us that are like data specialists, like we are basically on data. We don't have any other kind of thing you are doing. We are like data lovers, like me, right? We are data enthusiasts. It is great for our portfolios. Yeah, it's good for internal dashboards clients, and when you want to create some interactive reports that people can actually relate with and flow along with you. So you've done the work in Jupyter. I know most of us use Jupyter Notebook, and those of us that does not use Jupyter Notebook, some of us make use of Google Colab. If not Google Colab, some of us make use of our IDE, maybe a Visual Studio Code, yeah, to do our data cleaning and all of that. So you've done all the work. It's just to make it interactive to the world. So let's talk about the architecture. In a few minutes, right? So Streamlit architecture, well, Streamlit runs Python scripts as web apps. So it has a base performance level app that actually helps you to run your this thing just one single file. You don't need, unlike Django or Flask where you have to set your virtual environment, set and do all of that, and blah 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 blah. You don't need all these paparazzis for Streamlit. It's just a single file and your requirements. That's all. So it uses a reactive model, right? What I mean by reactive model is the script runs top to bottom on every user interaction, right? So it moves in the form of hierarchy. So components like widgets, charts, and maps are rendered in the browser, right? So when you start working with Streamlit, you see you know how you are able to convert your data into widgets. How you can interact with them using sliders, charts, and maps in your browser. Right. So you can integrate with any Python library. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Since it is built on Python, you can actually integrate with any Python library, pandas, sklearn, Plotly. Plotly is one of those library I also enjoy. Right. It actually helps you to, just like the name implies. Plotly is just something that helps with data visualization. So you can actually visualize your data using um plotly inbuilt function. There are so many that you can work with. So and then you can deploy your Streamlit project on the cloud using the Streamlit cloud, you know, vendor, right? So think of Streamlit as a bridge that lets these become web operators. So so how do you even we've learned about the beauty of Streamlit and how to use it, right? So now, how can we install it? How can we install Streamlit? Right. So basically, Streamlit, just like how you install every other Python language, pip install Streamlit. Go to file, app or py, import Streamlit as st. Then this is one of those function in Streamlit. That's the title function where you have to just specify what you want as your title. Then you have you know st.write my first app, just like I'll call it a description. So then to run the application, you say streamlit run app.py. The app.py is the name, right? So the name of the file. So now how can you also add input and output to your streamlit? Okay, so right, so this is it. This is an example of how you can actually add inputs to your streaming project. Just like how you create a variable. I create a variable name, right? Then st.text. Text underscore input is an input function in Streamlit, right? So let me even go to the Streamlit documentation. Perhaps you can just look through one or two things. So if you are going to be a professional developer, you have to work with mm, your documentations a lot. It has to be your best friend. So that's how you can actually attain efficiency, of whatever you are doing. So right, so now we have all of this setup and installation. Let's just check through. I've said this already. Pip install Streamlit. You know, So now there are various ways that which you can install Streamlit. You can either use the pip install. You can actually use the virtual environment and other ways, right? So I'm trying to look for a place where we can actually move. Let's look at the tutorials. So now you can see even Streamlit, you can use it to add user authentication with it. You can actually add authentication to your web apps. That is, maybe you are trying to build a web app that people needs some tokens to actually operate with it. So then you can actually use Streamlit as an interface for it. So you can actually go and check through this documentation you know if you ever need anything to go through, right? So looking at this real life app example, store locator with map. I don't know if you just go live. Maybe if you go into live coding per se, but let's see how it goes. If time permits us, we might actually go into live coding. So can you all still hear me? I hope I've not been talking to myself. Jesus. Oh, okay, thank God. All right. So moving on. I don't know if anybody has a question. Does anybody have a question? Oh, okay, I see your
I
hand.
guess someone raising their hand. Sorry.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I can see your hand.
Toluwani Ade.
Toluwani.
Yeah.
Is what is live coding? And
What do you say?
I what's live coding?
Oh, live coding. Okay, okay. Live coding is just essentially me coding like this. I'm actually just showing you what I'm doing. I'm not doing it behind the screen, right? I'm not doing it
Oh,
in a place where you are not there. That's just live coding. That's what I
okay.
mean. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Maybe
does
what is this
any
streamlit about?
what's that?
The streamlit, like you are sharing it, like explaining the doc. Like what
Okay.
do they use it for? Is it that you created it? Is it your project?
Oh, Did okay when like I guess you joined late. So based on the
Yeah.
theme of the workshop, right? It's about how to deploy your data project with Streamlit. Streamlit is a Python library. It's an open source Python library that helps you to convert your Python script, your machine learning model, whatever it is, your data analysis project. It helps you convert it into web app. Do you understand? That's what it's used for.
You said it helps you to convert it to what?
Web apps. Web apps.
Okay, web app. Yeah. Mm,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah, that's what it is used for. We'll actually show you around a practical example on how we are going to be using the Streamlit. Okay. So yeah, any question? Any other question before we proceed? Okay, I take that for no. All right. So we're talking about how to add input and output using your Streamlit. So okay, we've talked about this. We talked about this. So this is a project. Okay, project structure. All right. So let's just try to do you know one or two things that we do. All right. So I want to believe you all can see my screen, right? Can you all see my screen? Okay. All right. Just before I even show this, all right. Let me just go to the place where I did my data analysis. So normally this is a project. This they call it the show bike project. So what the project is all about is, let me go back to this slide. Mm. All right, so the project is all about predicting bike rentals in Seoul. Like, I mean, most of us that watch Korean movies, you know what Seoul is. Yeah, I didn't know about Seoul until yesterday. I didn't know about Seoul until yesterday. So, for those of us that do watch Korean movies, we know what is Seoul, right? So, this project is all about predicting bike rentals, like how people, you know, rent bikes in So it's a public data set that was made available in Cargo. So Cargo is a platform where you can get your data set, right? So basically, Sha, right? So I'm making use of Google Colab. First of all, the Google Colab. So then I imported my files. I uploaded my files directly into the Google Colab. Then then what pandas is used for. Anyone wants to ask a question? Does someone want to have a question? Any question?
Yeah, sorry. Is there anything you can do about your background noise? Kind of disturbing.
Okay, there are noises, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Just give me a minute. All right. So sorry, can you see any noise?
I think it's better now.
All right. All right. So I guess we can proceed then. So I was explaining something about this data set that it's all about the project is all about updating bike rentals in Sure, right? So this is an example of how you load and inspect your data sets with pandas. We know pandas is used, to read your CSV files, and to perform your data clean and feature engineering, whatever it is. So then Yeah. So then this is the presentation of the CSV file, right? You know that df.ed is for you to actually see the first four contents of the columns that you have in the data set, right? So this is it. Somebody wants to ask a question. I'm not sure it's been recorded. I'm not sure it's been recorded. All right. So this I this well if I want to explain all of these things, we won't leave you on time, and we know that we have time constraints. So I had to rename these columns into a better way. Then I have a value count and all. So in the end, I was able to um create a model, right? So I was able to create a model that I want to use in my Streamlit for the web app. All right. So job lib is used to create your model, like to then convert whatever model results you had into you know a format that you can use. So then let me just go to the Streamlit. All right. So basically, whenever you are using Streamlit, this result, this web app, and this one, you see that okay, all this one contains the analysis, visualization of okay. You will have to explain to somebody before they understand this. That okay, what are you trying to communicate in this area? We have temperature versus bike rentals, and we have it here. We have rental counts, the temperature. You have to start explaining that this is scatter plot. That kind of thing. It is not really able to communicate a problem solution. You understand? So, but with Streamlit, I was able to generate a model from that data analysis there. And yeah, I have a sale bike rental demand predictor. You can use it to predict the demand of bike rentals in a said location, right? So this is a very minimal Streamlit project. It's very minimal and it's straightforward. Yeah, you have to predict the number of bikes rented based on weather and time. So weather and time is the constraint. So we are constrained by by the amount of by the degree of weather and the time of that particular location. Yeah, so the time is based on hour of the day, and then the weather we're talking about the temperature, humidity, and the wind speed. Right? Take note, this temperature, humidity, wind speed are like the major constraints that affect why people rent bikes in sale. So it's like the major constraint that actually influences people's decision on how and why they should rent bikes. So I have a button here to predict bike demand. When I go to my code here, let me find um predict bike demand. So you can say this is where the prediction takes place. Right, this is where it takes place. If st.button predict bike demand, then we have this input underscore data equals mp.array. So this array contains the major constraint that we're working towards with um our temperature, humidity, wind, and then the prediction occurs, right? Now, how does this prediction happen? So see, I told you that I already loaded my model here, right? Model equals job lib dot load. Load is an inbuilt um Streamlit function, right? So you can see. So basically, it's just it returns any Python object, right? So this function can load NumPy array files. For those of you that doesn't know what NumPy stands for numerical Python, right? So it just helps us to load things, right? right? So now model equals joblib dot load. Then I inputted my model. So I'm actually now rendering the model in this place. So model dot predict input underscore data and zero. Then I have a metric, right? So I have a metric, right? So this metric is just to indicate, how a large number of things that has occurred, the changes, right? That's going to happen, when we are trying to run the model. Is we're just basically just visualizing it. So then we have, this is optional chart. I already added this just for demo. Then matplotlib is for visualization. um then so basically we're just having, average by hour. So this chart is just to represent the number of hours with the number of rentals, the average rentals that we have in an hour or in less than an hour. That's what that is all about. So let me go back to the browser. Right. So if I increase this slider, let's say I increase it to 14, you can see the Streamlit application reloads. It reloads and adjusts the prediction that we have here. If I click on predict spike demand, predicted results. So the number of rentals predicted, the number of rentals that is likely to occur, in 14 hours of the day, on under a temperature of 22 degrees Celsius, right? And an humidity of 60, wind speed of 2. So the predicted number of rentals that you have for that particular day is 1,230, right? And that is, what we have here. That's what we have here, right? So this is just average rentals by hour. This average rentals by hour that we have here. This is average rentals by hour. If I zoom in now, it's going to be, you can see the number of frequency. You can see it changes. We're having 200, 400, 600. If I reduce or if I enlarge it, changes. So the beauty of streaming is just that, looking at it here, we have a button here that we can actually use to deploy these our projects. And there's something about Streamlit, that Streamlit can be very funny sometimes. I mean, when you're trying to deploy, and where this funny behavior starts is when, when your application is inactive for so long. If it is inactive for so long, it is prone to, not not working as intended, or you start seeing maybe lagging and latency when you're trying to work with it. I don't know if anyone has a question. So far so good. Does anyone have a question? So far so good. So I guess there's no question. Okay. Yeah, you can meet. You can meet.
Okay, my question is there a way to design the UI yourself, or simply just give you a default UI?
Sorry. So I didn't get
I
that
said,
question.
is there a way to design the UI yourself, like the UI of the web app yourself, or Streamlit just
Okay.
gives you a default?
Yes, you can. You can just come up with your own intuition, but there are constraints as well. Now, I'll start by saying that, Streamlit functions are, they're limited, right? So it's not like, okay, you are trying to design, or you're trying to flood everywhere with crazy animations or any or things like that. The essence of Streamlit is for you to be able to communicate your data projects. So you can actually, start. You can have a design plan. Okay, this is how you want it to be structured. Like for me now, I may choose that I don't want sliders. All right, I may choose that I don't want sliders. I just want to put in the value myself, like inputs. We've learned about inputs. You can add inputs to your this thing, to your streaming project. There are functions. There's a function like that. Let me go back to this slide. So where we have this, this place. So now we can have this. So you can also put this one as hour equals st dot text input. You are going to put in the value that you want to be there for hour. So you can actually customize it whichever way you want to do, right? Like the more you work with Streamlit, the better you become with how you are presenting your data. That's just the secret behind it. So it's not like you're trying to maybe build a crazy animation and anything. The essence is just to communicate your data extensively to people. So of course, yes, you can actually customize it. Do you understand? All right. So yeah, is there any other question before I move on to the deployment? Okay, guess there's no question. So when you want to deploy, at least I think one of those things that you should do is let me even click on deploy. When I click on deploy now, I get two options, right? The first option is to deploy a Streamlit community cloud or to deploy customly, right? This custom is just for companies, and then maybe you are trying to work with a separate cloud entirely. You don't want to deploy on Streamlit cloud. So, but for the purpose of the class, we are not working with a custom deployment. Let's just work with Streamlit Community Cloud. So, if I click on deploy now, for instance, now you see it says that unable to deploy, right? Because the app's code is not connected to a remote GitHub repository. To deploy on Streamlit Community Cloud, you have to put your code in a GitHub repository and publish the current branch, right? So read more in our documentation. That is one of those requirements to deploy your streaming project is to put it on GitHub first. So if I click on our documentation for just learning purpose, right? So it is a must. You see, once you create your account on the cloud, then the next thing is you connect your GitHub account, export your workspace, blah blah blah, and all of that. So the basic requirement is you have to deploy on GitHub. So let me now let me deploy on GitHub. Yeah. So I'm going to initialize the repository here. I want to ask how many of us are not familiar with GitHub? I want to assume everybody knows about GitHub. I'm just assuming you. Hey, Jonas, my God, this is 2025. Okay, you don't know about GitHub, right? It's fine. It's fine. I mean, is it like many of us code every day like that? It's not like some people that are having up to like 200 commits in a day. It's possible, but most of us that are working with data analysis project probably we don't need GitHub, but of course we do need it at some point in time. But you need to store your project. So anyway, a GitHub is just a platform um that allows for version control, right? Version control in the sense that now I want you to imagine GitHub, just like you've heard of up. What is up? Up is just a place that a building. Let me start like that. A building, right? A building where you go to store things. Same thing applies to GitHub as well. So GitHub is an electronic building, right? Where you store your projects. Now, how you store them? They're actually in repos. Let me go to my own GitHub for instance now. This is my own GitHub. Let us okay. So this is how it looks like once you've created an account. Once you created an account, you're going to have something like this, essentially. So you have your repositories. Repositories are how you store your project. They're like the parcels of your project. So uh you know basically this is where it is. This is where it all happens, right? This is where you put in all your projects, right? For deployment, essentially. This is where you put everything. So let me just go to my repositories for instance. Okay. think network is bad. Oh. Okay, so we go to my profile. I think the network is bad. Let me just deploy. Let me try to deploy the project because of time. All right, so let me. I have my app.py, the model, the demo.ipymb. This is just the data analysis part that the code from Google Colab. So I'm going to commit all of these changes. All right, so let me give it a message. Let me publish the branch. So let me make it public. So let's just wait while it uploads. All right, so it has been published on GitHub. Let me just open in GitHub. All right, so this is it on GitHub now. My project is on GitHub. So now, which makes it easier for me to want to deploy it now. So let me go back to this project. Mm, you know what? Let me restart the project and click on deploy again. Okay. So run Streamlit, run. App.py. Okay. So all right. So yeah, let me try to click on deploy again. Let's just hope it works now. Okay, you can see it works on the. You can see it works like that. Yeah. So it takes us to the Streamlit cloud. Now I have to sign in first. Let me sign in. Let me continue with GitHub. GitHub. Sure. Let me say GitHub. All right. So yeah. So you can see it automatically detected. You know the repository I'm trying to you know deploy from without me trying to manually configure it, and then it was able to specify the app.py for me. So for the app URL is optional. You can specify what how you want it to. Maybe you want it to be your name dot streamlit dot app, or you just accept whatever it is they give you. So let me click on deploy. So at this point, you are likely prone to some errors, maybe from your code or from your requirements. The first thing is to be sure that you install all your requirements. I think I've done that already. So if you install your requirements, you should have less risk of having issues. But if you didn't install your requirements, you'll have issues. Oh. Sorry to say. So now I think it's deployed. Let's just wait. Okay. So it is deployed. And this link now I can share it to anybody across the world. You'll be able to see that okay, at this my web app is live and I successfully deployed um my project. So that is that about deployment. So I showed you that there are two types of deployment: the Streamlit and the custom deployment. Custom deployments are for companies; they are on a payment based level, and some are on a payment based level if you want to work in that era. So you can actually so we have different cloud platforms. We already talked about Streamlit Community Cloud. There's Docker, there's Kubernetes. All these are much more advanced. You can see life is easier with the Streamlit Community Cloud. But it's just that anytime your app is inactive, if it is inactive for so long, you are prone to errors. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if anyone has a question so far concerning this deployment or anything, any area specifically. Okay, Jonas. Yeah, you have a question. What's your question?
Okay, good evening. Thank you for this class. Oh, my question is that when you wanted to commit it from your Visual Studio, shut up.
Yeah.
So is it that your account is already linked to your Visual Studio because you just commit it and it went directly to the GitHub? How is it done?
Okay. Right. So I think that's just it. I think you know I would have explained a lot about that version control system and how you can connect to GitHub. That's like a different thing on its own entirely. So what happened there is I have actually configured my account to my Visual Studio. How did I configure it? Okay, yeah. So when you click on if you go to your code editor, this place where you have your account, you have to sign in here. So you can sign out, you can sign in with your account. So once you sign in, it automatically have access to your GitHub, right from your code, which makes life easier. So or if I don't want to do that, it is even important you actually register your account on your code editor. I think if you're not doing that by now, you are wrong. As a data analyst or as somebody who is constantly working with version control, it's a must you do that. There are command line interfaces that you can use. Oh, pardon me, I said interfaces. There are command line that you can use. There's a command line that you can use. For instance, now for Git, you must have installed GitHub on your laptop. Like, let me go to the site. You must have installed Git, right? This place, Git Bash. I think it's Git. Yeah, Git Bash. It's git bash. This is the first thing. Even with GitHub at all, you go to git batch, then you go to the downloads here. You have to install it. You have to download it. So when you download for Windows, download for Mac or whatever, you download for Windows, you install it. Once you've configured it, right? Then the next thing is you know, once you've configured it, it will be recognized in all, you know, in all areas of your laptop. So when you open your terminal like this and you just type git, for instance, you are going to see all types of git commands. You will see the git clone, git init, git add, git env, restore, blah blah blah. You see them. So I write from the comfort of your this. Let me say I want to change something in this my code now. I just want to show you something now. Let's say I want to change something in this my code. Um, let's say I want to remove this optional chat for just for demo, right? I want to remove that comment. Now, and that I've made a change like that, and I need to push it to my GitHub. So how do I do that? Using some git commands. Since I already installed Git, I can say git status just to check the changes that I've made. So you can see changes not staged for commit. Changes not stage for commit are what just just one thing. See, I currently just modified app.py. So how can I move this to GitHub? See git hard space dash full stop rather. So when I say git this full stop stands for I've I've added every changes that I just made now to git. So then after that, after you do that, you say git commit to commit this change because you need to commit it. So git commit hyphen m stands for modify. You understand? M stands for modify. Then you have git commit. I cannot give the message. You have to put your message in quotes. Changes. Then you press enter. So you have one file change, one insertion, one deletion, blah blah blah. I don't mind all this paparazzi story. The major thing is one file changed, right? That's what you need to know. So then you've committed your change. But one thing you should know is you should push. Once you've git status to check for changes, you git add, then full stop to add your changes, then you git commit, then the next is to git push. Yeah, so let me just git push. Yeah. So you can say enumerating object, counting object. So it has been pushed. So I can now let me now do git status to check for any other changes. You can see there's no more changes, nothing to commit. So the essence is whenever you want to work with version control system, you download git patch from the internet, you configure it, you install it on your laptop, then you can go to your terminal, just type git to confirm that it works. If it works, you are good to go. Then if you are using Visual Studio Code, come to this place that you have your account, configure your GitHub account there, and then you can deploy, you can push to GitHub right from your code editor. I think that answers your question, Jonas. Okay. All right, I think that will be all for now. I think we're done with today's workshop. If there's any question at all, you can just still do it to ask with the remaining amount of time left. Yeah. Thank you.
Can you hear me? I guess this is the end. Adler Daniel, thank you for hosting this workshop for us. I really learned a lot. So yeah, thank you for everybody that joined the workshop too. So have a good evening and peaceful week ahead. Bye guys.